Hi folks, welcome back to the Hoard. God, it feels great to feel better. Anyway, yeah, I did. Many of you who know me know that generally speaking, I'm not a winter person. I just don't care for winter. And mostly the reason why I don't care for winter is, other than romping the all-terrain vehicles in the snow, I don't really do much outside other than shovel snow, which is like work. So I figured if I buy a snowmobile, one of two things will happen. First, it'll snow and I'll enjoy riding this about, or secondly, we won't get any snow, which is just fine with me. This is a 1984. Obviously, it's a Ski Doo. It's a 2-up snowmobile. It's got the Rotax 583 in it. It's been used, right? I guess it's got just under 4,300 miles on it. Now, I am absolutely no expert on snowmobiles. Okay, this is my first snowmobile, and I had to start somewhere. It was a $700 Craigslist Deal. It was delivered for that money. I'm going to attempt to start it. Yeah, they go until they stop. Well, or do they? Yeah, they go until they stop. The reason why I've been looking at sleds for a while, and typically you find them in need some work condition, anywhere between $100 and $500. Right, the $100 ones are probably parts. It seems that around $300 finds you something that runs but quote needs work, or has the potential to run. Somebody just hasn't started it in a while. And once again, given that I don't know really anything about these things, I wanted to find something in a little better shape than that. You see the fresh gaskets? The person who bought this works on equipment regularly, right? He fixes them and everything else. And he said he just went through this engine and he replaced the seals, the rings, the reeds, valves. It's a 2-stroke, and he had done all of that just recently. And it had very few miles on it since then. One of the issues you run into if you pick up an older snowmobile is that the seals are bad, and with a 2-cylinder or with a 2-cycle engine, if you have bad seals, then they tend to overheat. Some of them run fine when they're cold, but the seals heat up, and then, right? So anyway, given my little bit of information, I decided to buy something the next step up, which is more or less a turnkey unit like this is, and it was $700. Some of you folks might say, oh God, that's a $500 sled up where I live up here, or that's a $200 sled, or maybe you guys are going to tell me that this particular engine combo, sled/engine combo, is the saddest thing you've ever seen. I don't know. I'm just, this is where I'm starting. This is my first sled. The person I got it from, once again, Craigslist Deal. I got it from kind of near New Paltz. let's call it New Paltz, New York, out on 299. So when I walked up to it, it was cold. He gave the old 1, 2, and I guess you leave this out. I don't know. I'm going to put the camera on the tractor and give this thing a couple pulls because it takes 2 hands. For the people in the North Country, I understand why you folks are pretty strong. If you guys start these things all the time, that would make you strong. Because boy, they pull back at you. I don't know. Am I showing you this snowmobile? Okay. I think you're more or less able to see me. Let's see if this thing cooperates. Once you turn the key on, get the stink bugs off. So that was a cold start. I mean, the lights work. Got plenty of oil in the, it's oiling fine. I'm just going to let it idle for a couple of minutes. Just to make sure the plugs don't foul. It's a water cooled. So if there's no snow on the ground, one wants to be very careful about letting it sit there and run because it can overheat. He did say to make sure that one turned off the gas, which I think for anything is not a bad idea. Anyway, guys, once again, let me tell you everything I know about these things. First of all, I know that before you take them anywhere for a ride, like let's say there's a snow situation and I could ride off my property and up and down the roads because there's enough snow out there, they say what you should really do is keep it near your vehicle or your property or home base, so to speak, until you're sure it's going to behave, you're sure there's no water in the fuel, you're sure the mice didn't chew up on something that's about to let go as soon as you get it 10 miles into the woods. So I know that's one thing you should do. I know something else. You should not ride with people who don't pre-test their sleds, because if you happen to be a person who knows something about fixing them, rebuilding carburetors and so forth, you could go off riding with your buddies. Let's say there's 6 of you, 3 of them, their sleds start right up and take off, and they're out enjoying a ride. Yours starts right up. You want to take off, but your other 2 buddies, they can't get them running, or they won't run long, so you start helping them with theirs, and they get theirs running, and they're riding, and meanwhile, you spent your entire day fixing other people's snowmobiles. So, It's not wise to ride alone, because if you got to be towed home, you would want somebody to be there to do that. But you also don't want to spend the entire day towing your buddies home. So you want to make sure some of their stuff is in halfway decent shape. So I know that rule. I know you should keep fuel in them. The better the gas, the better. I assume with these things that you would use, stable, just like anyone else. He recommended keeping this on top of the gas cap, because he says, believe it or not, just a little bit of rain could work its way down in here. I had my choice between this one or another one with the same engine, but it was shorter. It was the shorter version. The other one had electric start, though he took out the electric start clutch, the clutch, the centrifugal clutch or the torque converter with the electric start gear on it, and put in a racing torque converter. So it really didn't do anything until you were up at about 4,000 RPM, and then it took off like somebody kicked you in the tail, right? I mean, I didn't want that one for around the property, though it did have a few less miles on it, and if I put the electric start back on it, the electric start would have been a nice feature. I don't know. This one appeared to be the nice, easy, stable workhorse type sled. That's what I'm after, and that's hopefully what I got. You guys will tell me. Especially some of you folks like Mike, Hillbilly Homestead. I mean, you know these things like the back of your hand, so you could tell me. Musty One also has some experience with these. And there's probably a bunch of you guys who play with them regularly but don't necessarily talk about it or show that. So, or maybe you did in another life and you don't play with these snowmobiles anymore. Anyway, guys, your thoughts. And once again, feels great to feel better. I want to thank you all for watching and commenting and subscribing. Please remember to keep your feet down, keep your heads up, and get out there and go buy a snowmobile. You'll like winter better. Bye now.